Yo, yo, yo. We are live. Today I have the man himself, Dakota Robertson, on the podcast. How are you doing today, man?
I am peachy keen, sunshine and rainbows. I can't complain. Are you doing good, sir?
I'm doing great. It's so funny because I think that's the exact same response you gave when I asked you how are you doing a year ago today on the podcast. It was like almost a year ago today.
I'm an NPC. I have this stored dialogue where it's yes, press X to interact. yeah, that's yeah. I have my things. I gotta switch it up.
No, it's awesome. It's on brand. It's funny because you have that like carefree, like funny nature, but the tattoo you just got seems like a very serious endeavor. So can you explain
yeah,
what that is and what is the meaning behind it? Why did you get it?
yeah. So I don't think you can see it from this angle. It's really small and detailed, but it's a painting called "The Death of Socrates." And I got it because I really love the story behind it. I also think it's a beautiful painting, but the painting depicts the final moments of Socrates. And to give you backstory to the final moments of that, so Socrates, he was spitting the philosophy back in the day. He was, educating the youth and all that stuff. But the some of his teachings were going against what the state wanted, and he's basically making people think for themselves, question things. And what happened was the state, they said, hey, you're corrupting the youth. They charged him with that, and they put him on trial. They say, hey, in 6 months or however long, you're going to be put on trial for corrupting the youth. And it was basically telling him, like, get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, you better get out or you're going to face consequences. And he decided, like, no, I'm going to stand trial. I'm going to state my case and I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. So he did that. Didn't really go his way. And they sentenced him to death. And from my understanding, I believe he had another opportunity to, escape, get out. He had the opportunity, he had connections, all that. But he chose to just take the sentencing, and he stood by his values and his beliefs. And he drank the poison from the hemlock and went out on his terms. It was basically made him a martyr because he just took it. And I really respected that. I think it was a great story about sticking by your values and having integrity, and also accepting death. I mean, he was toward the later part of his life when he got sentenced, but he wasn't scared of death, or he accepted it. He's probably scared, but he accepted it, and I respected that, and I liked that a lot. So that's why I also wanted tattoos. So I was like, I want something meaningful.
Yeah, that's powerful. And why, out of any story you could have picked, why was that one especially meaningful to you?
I like to think I live with integrity. I don't like just going around saying, "Oh yeah, I got so much integrity," but I just look at different moments in my life where I could have chose money over integrity and sacrificed that. But I mean, there has been times where I don't make the best choices, but I think more often than not, like I do make the right choice, and I do help people, and I sacrifice a lot to help people, and that's a value I don't ever want to lose, because I see a lot of these people making all this money, but they're doing it in a shitty way where they're, I don't know, fake testimonials, or like they're screwing people over. And I never want to get rich or make money screwing anybody over. And even in anything in life, not just with like making money, but I don't know, just getting opportunities. Like I just I don't want to hurt people along the way. Like I believe everyone can win. And yeah, I just want to live a life with integrity. I just like the meaning behind it. I also really like the aesthetics of tattoos. Like I'm more creative, I think, and I think that's why I'm drawn to tattoos. But I've wanted one since I was 16, and I'm 26 now. So I just like took a lot of consideration into finding a really good artist and finding the right tattoo. Shout out to Noah Bissy. He's an amazing tattoo artist. Best one I came across. He did my stuff. But yeah,
It looks incredible, man. No, I love the meaning behind it too. I've been thinking about getting one in the same spot, actually, like right on the forearm. But It's such a big decision. Like it's a one
Yeah.
way door. You can't go back unless you're going to
Yeah.
go through a lot of pain. And that one looks like it probably took a very long time. It's very detailed.
It took
Um,
7 hours. Yeah, the last hour was like, oh yeah. And I didn't really have music or anything. I was just in it. It was a good time to practice stoicism.
yeah, yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, and it seems like over the past year, I'm sure a lot has changed since we last talked because last time we talked, it was last February, I believe,
Yeah.
February 2023. And that was kind of this huge crux point for you in terms of business because you just launched Growth Ghost for the first time, which I was in. By the way, if anybody's considering, definitely join Dakota's cohort. It,
Hey.
it actually changed the direction of my life. So I'm very grateful for you for that. But over the past year, after you've had these huge launches, right? You've gone through multiple cohorts. How has your relationship with business and money and progress and pushing forward changed over the past year?
Yeah, that's when I really realized what I had built and the leverage that came with it. So up until that point, I was ghostwriting for other people and doing a lot of work and building my brand at the same time. And right before I launched that cohort, actually, I was, man, I was scared. I was like, I don't know if this is going to do well. I don't know how, like, to really, run a cohort. I've never done this before. I was very nervous, and I just didn't. I just had these limiting beliefs. I actually recorded a video just talking about that during the time. I was just right before the launch. I recorded a video of me talking to the camera, just going through my thoughts. I'm glad I did because I think it's a good reminder of where people are at different stages of the journey. Because at the time, I had a big audience, and a lot of people, when they see somebody with a big audience, they think they have it all figured out, and they're great and amazing. Man, I was scared shitless to launch, and I know a lot of these big creators, all of them have some kind of insecurity, or they're scared of doing things, and um, yeah, it was crazy for me because that launch went really, really well. The cohort went really, really well, and I've just iterated from there and gotten better. But yeah, man, it made me realize just what I had built and the leverage that comes along with building a personal brand. Like I realized it before, but not to that degree because I made my first launch like $155,000 in 1 month, and now like with the payment plans, I think it was like 200 and something thousand. So it was absolutely ridiculous to make that in a month, and I did that with the cohorts after as well. So it was just like, holy shit, like this is crazy. Just make more money than I even knew what to do with. Well, I did. I spent it on coaching and mentorship to learn more. But yeah, it really like it was cool because I just like at that point I was like, oh, like it's just like money. Like it just loses a lot of its meaning at that point, which is cool. I think that's like the ultimate cycle. It's like money's everything. You're doing everything, make money, and then come to this point of leverage. You make a ton of money, and the thing you're like working so hard toward in the end was like, oh, it's just like it's just, doesn't mean that much. It's like whatever. I already experienced that with crypto a bit because I made a decent amount with crypto, and it was like, oh, it's just numbers on a screen. It's like it just gets rid of the annoyances and the pains in your life. Like, oh, I don't got to worry about paying for an Uber or like figuring stuff out. You just pay someone to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's like the end of that Naval thread, How to Get Rich. It's like, do this for 10 years, you'll get what you want, but then you'll realize it's not really what you wanted in the first place. Like,
yeah,
I'm not at that stage where like you make so much money that you don't have to think about it really anymore, at least for a short period of time. But I can
mm,
imagine, maybe I'm wrong, but I can imagine that once you make a huge sum of money like that, it might reveal new problems in your life that you thought money was going to solve, but then you're like, oh wait, like my day-to-day existence is not that different. So did any of
yeah,
that come up?
yeah, man. It's funny too because I remember when I heard my friend Dan Coe hit his first 50K month, and my jaw literally dropped to the floor. Well, not literally, but it dropped. It literally dropped. I was like, what? You can make that in a month? I thought 10 or 20K a month was like the upper echelon. And when I heard that, it switched a belief in my head of what was possible. Like, you make 50K? And then I heard someone else made 100K in a month. And I was like, what? You can make that much? I just like, I couldn't even fathom making that much money in a month. And then I started to hit 10K a month, 20K, and then I hit my first 50K a month. I was like, holy shit, like you can actually do this stuff. And then I hit 100K a month. And then you hear people making a mil a month. And you just realize, is like, there's so many levels to this game. And a lot of people hear, oh yeah, make a million a month. Yeah, right. And now that I hear that, like maybe years ago, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Now that I hear that, I'm like, yeah, that's 100% possible. And I can 100% do that because I think about all the limiting beliefs I had before, all the beliefs I've shattered. And it's like, oh yeah, if I want to hit a million a month, I can 100% do it. If someone else has done it, I can do it too. I figured it out up until this point. So why not me?
Mm,
So it shifted my view around that. But the problems that came along with that is like you fall into the comparison trap. It's like, dude, this last cohort, I think I made like 160K cash collected, and then there's payment plans. I don't know what it'll be total, but I was disappointed.
mm,
Like I was disappointed I made that much. I thought I was gonna make way more, and I just had to stop and think to myself, I'm like, dude, you just made $150,000 in a month and you're disappointed. So you can fall in that trap where you get used to a certain launch figure or making a certain amount of money. And since you're comparing it to previous launches you did or previous numbers you did, you can be disappointed because it's relative. Or you can look at other people ahead of you. You're like, they made 500K in a month and I only made 150. Bro, there's people trying to scrape by and make $1,000 a month, and you're here like, oh no, I only made 150K. It's like, shut up. Like it's like I would have killed. My parents would have killed to fucking make that much money. My grandparents would have killed to make that much money. So it's just making sure you're grateful along the way and not getting in the trap where you're comparing yourself to other people or I don't know, just like not being grateful, man. And another issue is like as you scale, you bring in more complexity. So, you bring in a closer, you bring in an appointment setter to handle DMs, you bring in a coach in the program, you bring in a client success manager, and you're managing all these people. Meanwhile, you just wanted to like, make some money, chill out, have fun, do fun stuff. And then now you're doing this whole elaborate system as you scale because you're like, oh, I got to get bigger numbers. I got to get bigger numbers. It's easy to fall in that trap. A lot of us will like, oh, we want to escape the 9 to 5. And then we trade it for this thing where we're always working. And it's like, oh, I hate this. And right now, I'm in the point where I'm like, I'm always working, but I like it. But right now, I'm doing a lot of shit I don't like. And that's why I'm restructuring it, some things with my offer and the ecosystem I've built. But yeah, it's like, I don't think more money, more problems. I think more money, more opportunities for problems, but
mm.
you get to choose your problems.
Damn. Those two things you just said hit so deep for me because a year ago when we did our podcast, I was in your cohort. At that time I was just in college. And at that point it was like, if I could just make a couple $1,000s a month and not work a 9 to 5 job, then I'll be happy. And then I did it. And then was like living in Buenos Aires in Costa Rica, like making what from wherever, like $4,000 to $7,000 a month, working like 2 hours a day. But I was like, oh, it doesn't feel like enough. Like I need to take the next step, right? And it for me, it's been that comparison trap too, because at the time, all I cared about was just having that freedom. But now, as you move up in the game, you go from just a random kid who's starting to write on Twitter, you just like want to be a ghostwriter, make online money, like you don't want to work the 9 to 5. And now you're comparing yourself to Dakota Robertson, you're comparing yourself to Dan Coe, you're eventually comparing yourself to Alex Hormozy. Like it never stops. So the
Yeah.
comparison is just, this is a reminder to myself to just stay away from that game. And then the second thing you said about accidentally building yourself into the exact thing that you didn't want, that's such a tricky game. I watched this YouTube video last week. This one girl, I can't remember her name, but it was like, I built a creator business and then I quit it. I let it all go.
Vanessa Lau.
Yeah, yeah. And she basically talked about how she accidentally like scaled when it was just supposed to be a way to make money online and achieve freedom. And she ended up building herself into a life she hated. And I
Yeah.
think having that awareness of, okay, wait, there are things right now that I don't like. I need to continue to evolve and change beliefs and change my mindset. And today, literally, like I've been going through some internal distress around like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff right now that I don't feel fulfilled doing. There's a lot of meaningless work that I just want to get rid of. So I'm curious for you right now, like with that restructuring, what are you tweaking to move towards that ideal lifestyle?
Yeah, so like my main thing is like I don't want to manage people. Like I can do like some like I can do it, but I don't want to manage a sales team. Like I look at these people that scale these coaching programs and they have like all these closers, all these setters. I don't want to do that, man. Like I just want to help people. I want to make good money doing it, but I want to create content at the end of the day. I love creating content and I love helping people create their content and sharing what I learn. So I think, okay, how can I do that? All right, I the reason why I have to have a closer and a setter, um, or a closer at least, is because the price point's higher because it's more hands on with the fulfillment. Like it's very hands on in this cohort, so I have to charge more to deliver like more value. And sorry, I declined a call. So I'm thinking, okay, so if the fulfillment is what's causing the price to be higher, how can I, you know, change the fulfillment a bit so I don't have to price it so high, so I don't have to have a closer, and then I can still help people and deliver good solutions. So it's a kind of reverse engineering. So I'm going to uh, probably restructure how the cohort's built or like framed, I guess, and scale, make it a little bit less hands on, and then get rid of a closer. Just have it where it's like, here's the price, here's when we're doing the cohort, no closer, just sign up here. That way I don't got to manage a closer. I don't got to look at sales calls. I don't got to worry about that bullshit. And then price points lower. And then I have a community where it's low ticket, and that way I can always drive traffic to that and get sales reoccurring from that. And it's also a trust building mechanism. So as people are in there, they're getting to know, like, and trust me, just delivering a shit ton of value. So when I do these launches, it's like, oh, it's already built. I already know Dakota's, knows his stuff. Let's go. And that way, you just make more sales, help more people, and ride off into the sunset. So yeah, adding a low ticket community like within a month or two here, then that's going to be like the main focus of driving traffic, because it's a big commitment. If somebody doesn't really know you fully and they're like, hey, give me X amount of dollars, and it's a lot, it's like, well, it's going to be harder to convert. But if you deliver value up front with a community, and then do the sale with the coaching program, it's a lot easier. And the mistake I made was I made a free community. Well, it wasn't a mistake. It was actually good. I made a free community, got a bunch of people in there. Dude, there's like 400 people in there. 10 people show up to the calls. People don't value free.
Right.
Like you don't pay attention if you don't pay. So I got a bunch of market data from that though, because I made people apply. I didn't let anybody in. And I got to see who's my ICP, who's the people I want to work with, what are their pain points, what are their desires, and I leverage that, and I'm going to use that in the marketing and structure the offer around that.
Nice. And with that low ticket community, how are you planning, if you're willing to share, how are you planning on structuring the monthly price point? Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it mostly based around ghostwriting? Is it the full stack creator idea? How are you thinking about this?
No, so it's going to be still determining price, but it'll be under $100 a month, and then the structure of it will be building a personal brand, how to build a personal brand, because I've done it on all the platforms except TikTok. Yeah, I think that's about it. And I'm going to show people how to build a personal brand. So like you think about it as a funnel. What, like, how many people want to be ghostwriters? Like, I don't know how many people. Like, it's not as big as many people that want to build a personal brand. So if I can capture that attention, like that wide attention with a like build your personal brand, join my community, then I'm gonna capture so many more people into that community, low ticket. And then when I want to sell them on ghostwriting, it's like, hey, you've already been building your personal brand. Do you want to do this for other people and get paid to do it? It's like, sure, you're going to convert more people from that. So I think it's yeah, easier to structure it that way, but we'll see. I don't know.
And then are you considering any type of build it once, sell it infinitely type of digital product?
Yeah, like a course. Yeah, I'll have courses in the community, but yeah, I want to. I think I want to build a writing course. I think that would
Mm.
be cool. I think I could build a really good one, but I the main focus is the community right now, and then I'll probably work on the course after and spend a good amount of time on that. But yeah, yeah, I'll definitely do a course in the future.
Yeah, once you like launch that first cohort, at least for me, it's revealed all the next steps that I couldn't see before. And it's like, holy shit, there's so much to build. I want to build a free course. I want to build a low ticket, like kind of like a personal branding course. I want to build a high ticket course. I want to build a one-on-one program. I want to build different cohorts. It's like there's so much to build in so little time, and your attention is so spread thin. And you only have so many hours in the day. So like right now, what does your normal day look like? Like how many hours are you working?
Bro, it like blends together. Um, I haven't been as focused as I could been, so it's like could be. So I find myself juggling a lot of stuff. Like I'm right now, I'm building systems for content. I'm creating content for YouTube. I'm writing a newsletter. I'm writing tweets. I was building a content system. Yeah, content system. I'm fulfilling for my cohort and building out new lessons for the cohort. I was doing the marketing for my cohort. So I've been like all over the place and just I haven't been as focused as I could be. Um, I work all day, every day. Like I probably work till like 7 till 5. But there's like maybe a break or two in between. I productive work, like deep work. I don't even know. It's probably not that high because I just multitask and switch from task to task. Something I've been working on lately. But yeah, I'm I'd like yeah, just all day pretty much. I love to work. Not lately, but I love to work.
Yeah, it goes through seasons where you're just like obsessed. And you're like, I could do this all day, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is a drag. And when you have all these different things going on, like you have to hold so many different things in your head. Like when
Yeah.
you have newsletter, YouTube, podcast, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm probably missing some other stuff in there, even like, and then course, and then community. It's like it's wild to hold all that stuff
Yeah.
in your head. And I
Yeah.
think that's a big filter in terms of like, can somebody continue to build so much stuff? And like now that I'm working within Cortex, like I'm kind of observing Dan behind the scenes, and I know you lived with him for like a couple months. So like,
He lives in the
what?
same building as me right now.
Yeah, yeah, he does live in the same building. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what do you observe about him? Like, how is he able to sustain those levels of focus and juggling all these different things?
Well, first off, Dan is a robot and he's not real. So there's that. No, I'm just kidding. Dan's just like he's just very focused. When I lived with him, he's just very has routine. He ate the same stuff every day. He is like a robot. It's actually crazy. He's not afraid to like say no and like do his own stuff. He goes on his walks, listen to audiobooks, but he's just like I think Dan is not the normal person. To be
Probably
honest,
not.
I think Dan says, "Yeah, right, 2 hours a day, do whatever you want the rest of it." Most people aren't Dan, bro. Dan's a superhuman, and I think for most people that's not feasible. Um, Dan's just like a robot, man. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it. He's just really talented and skilled, and I think it. I think it's just like a lot of it's his DNA. I think he's just wired that way. Um, yeah, yeah, he's a robot. I was right from the get go. Yeah, he's a robot.
Yeah, he's literally always iterating, like always fucking iterating, like the minor, like really minor details. Landing page, how are we going to structure it? How are we going to do this stuff? It's really wild to see. It's admirable, but then again, you fall into that comparison trap of like, how is he able to do this, right?
Yeah,
And so you're living in this apartment with like multiple creators, like it's Dan, it's Nick Verge. I think Joey Justice is like moving in there too. Like,
yeah.
how has that been living with Nick Verge?
Cool. Yeah, Nick's a crazy motherfucker. I thought I was crazy. It's like he just takes it to another level, and I'm like, whoa, like he's he's always like crazy. Like I'm like on and off. Like I was like, oh, okay, I can like tone it down. He's like always like crazy, like extrovert in a good way. He's a great guy. But yeah, I've learned a lot from him. He was a smart dude. He's a brilliant marketer. He thinks about things in a really unique way, very articulate and very smart. He's a very high IQ guy. Um, but no, it's been cool. I've learned a lot from him, and like that's one of the biggest things on my journey, just living with other men who are ambitious. It sparks a lot of energy and ideas in you, and It's cool, man. It's one of the best things I think men can do is move in with other ambitious people because it just you just raise each other up in a good way. So it's yeah, it's been great. We had a lot of laughs. Like, dude, we have these different characters where we're like, oh, Mr. Navage, like the world's most interesting man, or he'll do his Donald Trump impressions, or like we just, I don't know, we just riff all day on like improv, random skits, and just because we think it's funny, it's literally all day. It's so funny, but yeah, someone would probably think we have schizophrenia if they walked in and observed.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can only imagine what it's like behind the scenes with you guys. But
Yeah.
that's like one of the biggest hidden benefits of writing online that I've seen in the past year is like the in-person connections you make. One of my friends, Matt Mick, coined it like the URL to IRL pipeline. Like you meet people online, then you take it offline, and like I'm living in somebody's apartment right now for 3 months because he's gone traveling, who I met through a podcast. Last night, one of my friends, Connor Widmeyer, stayed with us, who I met through a podcast. Like it's that's one of the biggest hidden benefits, even beyond making money online, having freedom. It's like the people you meet is just incredible. And speaking of about that, like people I've met, like two people I've met through the internet, Taylor Simmons and Matt Mick, we ended up doing ayahuasca together in the jungle. And we were hearing some behind the scenes about your experience too. So, um, how long has that been since you've sat with ayahuasca? And like, do you still feel like those lessons, if there were lessons, are very prevalent in your life?
Yeah, so I think we did May or April, May, June. I think we did it early June, late May. We did ayahuasca of last year. And yeah, man, I definitely processed a lot of stuff like growing up with childhood. And I just felt a lot of empathy toward myself and my family and just realized how I could be showing up better in their lives. And yeah, those lessons stuck with me. And I mean, right away, I acted on it. Like I called my loved ones and I just had good, deep conversations with them and told them how much I appreciate them and I love them. And yeah, I just find them more open with stuff and yeah, just dealt with a lot of shit that I was more closed off toward growing up. And yeah, it was powerful. It was really good for me. And I react well to psychedelics typically. So I think it treated me well. I know it was rough for some other people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild how everybody's experience was so unique. Like you can't replicate an ayahuasca experience. Like I know Talon at one point when we were doing it. I don't think he'd mind me sharing it. He was like, I was literally staring at my grave, and like
Yeah,
he's just such an intense dude. Whereas for
yeah.
me, it wasn't much like that. It was a lot of introspecting on childhood and like who am I going to become in the world. But I was terrified going into it. Were you scared going into it?
I was just like a roller coaster. I'm more prone to be like a thrill seeker. So I'm more open to stuff like that. I was like, ooh, I don't know what's gonna happen. I was like running through scenarios of like it's like right before a roller coaster, like this is kind of scary, but this is kind of cool. And I didn't know what to expect. And for me, it was great. It was an amazing time. There was one point on the second trip where it was starting to go a bit dark, and I was like, oh shit, I'm starting to see some like creepy things. But then I just accepted it. I'm like, okay, if that's what I got to see, I got to see it. And that's when it went away. It was when I was resisting it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember it's like, no, you just got to accept it. And that's when it just melted away and it just went good. I was like, oh, it's just what it is. So no, it's really intense. And I think you got to, with ayahuasca or any psychedelic, you have to be okay with death and really accept things for what they are. I think it forces you to confront those things. And when I was 16, I did mushrooms and I thought I was dying. I thought I lived my whole life, and that's when I had an ego death, and I had a lot of a I lost my fear of dying. Like I still like don't want to die, but like I accepted it a lot more.
Wow. 16 is early for that. I can't imagine trying it at 16.
I did that was the first thing I did before drinking. When I was 13, I got magic mushrooms and I did them. Before smoking weed, before drinking. That was the first thing I ever did. It's crazy.
Holy shit. You must be just
Yeah.
like crazy high on the openness trait. That
Yeah,
that's
I
probably
am.
what it
I
is.
am 100%. yeah, I'm very high on openness.
Wow. And do you think that these will continue to be a important part of your life going forward?
Psychedelics?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, oh, I need to do them, but I just see it as a tool where it's like, yeah, like I would like to do. It's like a nice little reset, every so often. I don't normally do mushrooms or psychedelics, but yeah, like I like them. I think it's a nice reset. I think we can get caught up in these mindsets or these ways of thinking. And what psychedelics does is it brings you out of that and allows you to observe it from a bird's eye view. And like, oh, is that useful or is that not? Oh, I never thought of it like that. So I think, yeah, I think in the future I'll continue to do it. Maybe stop when I'm 70 or something.
Yeah. Or when you just hit enlightenment.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's how I feel about it as well. Just like a pattern interrupt every, you don't want to put a time on it, but like 3 to 6 months for me seems like the right thing. And you just are able to observe, like, am I on the right path? And I've normally noticed like I've slipped off the path in one area of life. Like maybe, okay, my health, I haven't been taking it as seriously as I should. And you see what the long term consequences are going to be. Or it's like I've been neglecting my relationships. I need to open back up. Like it's been incredibly powerful. And it seems like that's such a common theme among the creator economy. Like I think it's more rare that people haven't done psychedelics in the creator economy than they have.
Yeah. Well, you think about like the openness trait, you're probably, if you're a creator, you're probably more on the openness trait. If you're more on the openness trait, you're more likely to do psychedelics, more likely to get tattoos, stuff
Hmm.
like that. So that's why you see a lot of these creatives with tattoos and all this like, stuff because it's the trait of openness.
Speaking on the creative front, aside from business, do you have any ideas of like other creative endeavors that would be like more passion projects to tap into that creativity in the future?
I think travel's an amazing one, man. Like you think about creativity, I view it as a spider web, connecting different things. Like what makes something creative? It's like, oh, I never thought of putting that together before. I think that's why Dan's, so successful is because he connects. He reads a lot, and he connects all these ideas together to form these original ideas. And I think one of the best ways to do that is go travel because you're exposing yourself to new people, to new environments. There's something called epigenetics where like I think it unlocks, I don't know, new traits or something. I don't know the science behind it. Just
I think
Google
you're
epigenetics.
No, you're spot on. Like I think I heard that from Peterson, Jordan Peterson, that
Yeah.
like certain traits or certain things in your genetics can't turn on unless you're in the environment to
Yeah.
bring them out. And that's how I started
Yeah.
writing online. Um,
Yeah.
that's how I found your stuff actually after traveling.
Hey. Yeah. Gotcha in my web.
Got
Um,
me in the funnel.
but it's also like storytelling too. It's one of the best ways to create content is to tell stories, and the only way you get to tell stories is to by go do stuff. And if you're doing the same thing and you're in the same environment, it's like how many like new things are you trying? I got so many stories from traveling, and I can use that in my content, and I can refer back to that to explain a lesson or an idea, and it's super powerful because it's not only educating but it's entertaining.
Mm. Would you ever do another like very free, no obligations type of like backpacking trip that I know you did a very long time ago?
100%. I want to get back to that, bro. It's not fun to travel when you're working because it's just like you're just working in a new place. It's not really travel, in my opinion. I think, yeah, true travel is when you just go out and just try these things and just don't worry about, oh, what do I got to like post tomorrow or like do whatever. Like the most free I ever felt was when I was 19, 20 in Asia and I just wasn't working. I was just traveling. And it was the most amazing experience. Met so many amazing people and had so many crazy memories.
Yeah. The cool thing about what we're doing too is like we can do that if we want to, but there's always like that sunk cost or like that
Hmm.
idea of, oh shit, I should be working. I could do another cohort this month or this quarter and make 150K. Or I could
Hmm.
sacrifice that and just completely be free. So I've been thinking about this a lot because similar to you, when I backpacked 2 summers ago, I was 20. like no obligations really. I was taking online Spanish class, but that was it. And it was the most free I ever felt in my life. And I want to get back to that. So I'm planning on doing a trip June through August where I'm going to run a mini cohort this March, another cohort April, May, and then like build basically take the curriculum from that cohort and just launch it as a digital product in June. And then in the summer, no cohorts, no coaching, nothing. And just like 3 months, go travel Europe, maybe go Southeast Asia and write, pretty much just write, but with no pressure or obligations. That's where my head is at right now. And I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, man. I think that would be cool. I mean, that, yeah, that's the best thing about this. You could just, if you want to do that, you can totally do it. It's, why not? It's badass. Turn into content.
Yeah, exactly. It'll turn into more content down the road. Yeah. So with the travel, like when you and Taylor are going to you guys are going to Europe again soon, right?
Yeah, I've never been. So I'll be going after we go to EDC in Las Vegas. And yeah, I'm stoked. I've never been to Europe before, so it'll be interesting.
Where are you gonna go?
So probably London, and after that, I don't know. wherever the I, yeah, wherever the wind goes. So yeah, fuck
Yeah,
it.
that's the best way to do it, I think. Like
Yeah.
no having no plan and just going. I
Mhm.
think you'll
Yeah.
love it. You'll love
Yeah.
Europe. Um I haven't been to Southeast Asia though, so I want to know more about it. Like
Mhm.
what parts of Southeast Asia were you in?
I did a month in Thailand, a month in Vietnam, and a month in Cambodia. Vietnam was my favorite. Oh, it's amazing. The food in Thailand's amazing, and there's a lot of cool stuff to do. A lot of parties you can go if you're into that. Well, I wasn't so much into that. We still went out quite a bit. That's some crazy times. But yeah, Cambodia's I wasn't a huge fan of. Shot a rocket launcher there. That was the entire reason I went. That was badass. Um, but yeah, no, it's amazing there. Super cheap, really beginner friendly, and you meet a lot of cool people there. Really safe, and yeah, good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main appeal to me about going and doing that backpacking trip is actually being able to detach from that identity or that obligation as a creator. Because I'm curious for you, because I feel like this sometimes. Like we're on this treadmill a little bit. We're like have to be writing content, have to be doing a newsletter, have to be doing YouTube. Like, do you find it hard or difficult sometimes to detach from this stuff, or even to detach your identity from this stuff?
Yeah, I find yeah, it's like you always have to be creating content. Well, especially if you're scaling on multiple platforms, it's like you got to create some elaborate systems and you got to know how to repurpose. And but it's good though because I like it because it even the days I don't feel like creating content, I create content. Literally yesterday, I didn't feel like writing a newsletter. I created a newsletter. I've never missed a week. And I think it forces you to level up, like having that discipline, because it's just what you do. When you adopt that identity, like I am a fit person. I don't feel like going to the gym today. I'm going to the gym because that's who I am. And having that discipline, yes, there are constraints and like it forces you to do something, but that's the thing that also gives you freedom to deviate from that if you wanted to, hypothetically. Like the reason you can go out and travel is to like escape or do whatever is because you're creating content and it's providing leverage. The reason you can eat that cheesecake and not feel guilty or like not be a fat fuck is because you go to the gym and you're disciplined. And that act of doing something consistently is it really brings order in your life. And I think you need that. It's way better to have that than just to be free all the time. Um, So I like it. And even on the days I don't like it, I like it. It just, yeah, forces you to level up. That's why I like business and that's why I like content and all this stuff.
And how do you build that discipline muscle over time?
Man, it's like some people just don't want it enough because they haven't felt the pain point of the alternative. I know what's waiting for me on the other side if I don't have all this stuff going and, I'm executing, and that scares the shit out of me. But also putting tactical anxiety into your life. So, for example, with the cohort, when I launched it to begin with, I didn't have it built out because I kept procrastinating before because I was trying to build it out. before selling it. I just marketed the cohort. I built the first week of lessons and then sold everyone into it. And then I just stayed a week ahead. And what that did was like it forced me to stay consistent, because if I didn't, then I'd have all these people like, what the hell? Why didn't you get this done? And I'm like, oh, I just look like an idiot. So you can put in those guardrails in your life to make you do stuff, because the pain would be more than your lack of discipline, because like, oh, I'm going to get this done because I don't want that pain point. And doing stuff like that. I also, like, if you want to get tactical, like I have app blockers so I don't like go on my phone. I literally bought a physical case with a timer and a lock for my phone, so like a lockbox, so I can't access that at all. So just finding ways to make it hard to do the wrong thing, like, because
Mm,
I think us humans are like, I can watch like 5 minutes of this, and then next thing you know, 2 hours later. So you're just making it not an option in the first place, or making a big pain point if you don't do the thing.
mm. Yeah, I like that frame, tactical anxiety, and I'm kind of experiencing that right now. So I'm about to launch a new program in 6 days, and I have like about to be done with the first week, and then I don't have anything past that, and so I have to get it done. But it
Mm.
is such a common theme of people in the creator economy, especially as you level up in the game. It seems is like so many creators struggle with anxiety, like they're fueled by anxiety. And while on one hand it could be good for like sparking action and getting shit done, like on the other hand it's like I don't want to live in a state of perpetual anxiety. And so I'm working on that internally of like and externally. Like what can I change in my business? What can I change in my life to live in an internal state of peace right now? So I don't know. How have you navigated that increasing amounts of responsibility and pressure and anxiety as you've leveled up in the game?
Lifting weights. I think I got a good stress tolerance because I've lifted weights for so long, and it's helped a ton. Um, but also just realizing, like, saying no. That is one of the most, that is a skill everyone needs to learn. And that's something I have to constantly remind myself is, it's funny because at the start, when you're creating content, when you're trying to build your business, you have to say yes, 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 yes. That's how you get your opportunity. But to scale, you have to learn to say no, 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 no. And just like, it's hard, man, because you're thinking this is, but accepting these opportunities is how I got here. And you're thinking, oh, to get from point A to B, it's the same to get from point B to C. It's like, no, each level requires a different skill set, different decision making, different mental models. And you have to realize a lot of the stress in your life is like you bring it on yourself. And it's the decisions you make and the responsibilities you take on that create that stress. Me, for example, with the cohort, it's been causing a lot of stress because, well, at least the marketing and all that, because it's just like dealing with a lot of stuff. I put on these like deadlines on myself, like I'm launching this moment or this date, and it's like, dude, that's like a month away. You don't have anything prepared. It's like that caused a lot of stress. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of it's like self-inflicted, or yeah, man, it's taking a step back and realizing, okay, I have all this stress. What caused it, and how do I prevent that in the future? Because a lot of people, they think, oh, I'm just always stressed, or there's nothing I can do. The moment you stop taking responsibility for your life is the moment you lose control, because if it's not your fault, then there's nothing, you're choosing to relinquish power. So with everything I do, I always take responsibility for my situation. Okay, I'm stressed. I'm not enjoying this. It's my fault. What did I do? How do I prevent this? How do I make a change? And think it through. So yeah. And then I just pay smart people to tell me what to do too. I just I just look at people that are where I want to be in life. I pay them to learn a skill or a trade or whatever, and then I just do what they say. And that's been one of the best hacks of my life. So, yeah.
Yeah. What are some of those things that you have found that are difficult to say no to that you continue to say yes to despite not wanting to really do it?
So there's one actually that came up recently. This DJ, he has this link, or this, yeah, it's like a link software or something. He got like number one on Product Hunt or whatever, but he offered me equity to help with the content, like help promote it, like be a like a partner of it. I'm like, damn, that's like, fuck, I want to do that. But I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, but like, can I really do his stuff and mine and both at excellent quality? It's like, no, I honestly can't. I want to do this, probably make good money. But to be fair to him and be fair to myself, I can't do that. I can't say yes, even though I wanted to say yes. So I told him, dude, I respect what you're building. I love what you're building. I want to do this, but I don't think I would create quality content or that I have the necessary experience and or the time to learn how to do this for you. Although I would like to, but yeah, I wish you the best. So I just say no to that. But yeah, it's just like opportunities with money, man. Like just it's hard. Like when someone's like telling you, hey, you want to make some money.
Yeah.
That sounded kind of weird. But just saying no to that. And same with sponsorships, dude. I've been getting a lot of sponsorship opportunities lately. Like I had HubSpot reach out to me. They want to sponsor my YouTube. But I was like, I don't use HubSpot, so I can't promote that like ethically. Like it comes to the integrity thing. It's like if I don't use something, I'm not going to tell people they should use it. I'm not going to say I like use something that I don't. So like that, or I don't know what else, but it's just like just stuff to make money, or like someone asks you to do something as well. Hey man, can you do this for me? It's like, no, sorry. And not feeling bad about it. So you got your own stuff going on. Me, I've had people pleasing tendencies in the past. And when someone asks me to do something, I automatically like, I want to help them. I want to be liked. But it's just realizing, no, that's not good for you. And ultimately, it's not good for them because you're going to resent them, or you're not going to show up with like quality work in other people's lives because you're taking up so much of your time. So it's like learning to value yourself and your time and realizing when you take care of yourself, you're also taking care of other people around you because you're focusing on the thing that matters, and that's what gives you the resources to help people. But like being like really clear, what's the needle mover, what's the one thing, like that's the only reason I've been seeing success in my life is because I've just been hyper focused. I was focused on creating content like a madman, got good at that. And then I was focused on ghostwriting for other people and creating their content, got good at that. Then I was focused on teaching people on how to do what I did and focused on that. So it's like it was the same focus, just at different levels. And that's what gave me the leverage, the compounding to, you know, make more money and help more people. So it's just the ability to say no to everything and focus on the thing that matters is super important.
Yeah, you hit on so many things there that are so relevant for me right now. Um, the first one about just like turning down opportunities that you probably once would have been so excited for. Like I got a text today from a good friend like, "Hey, how much would you charge for like writing me a weekly newsletter and helping me grow it?" And instantly I was like, "Oh, okay, like this could be an extra like 2K a month. Like that would be really nice." And then my friend was like, "Why does the 2K a month matter?" And I was like, I don't know. Makes me feel a little bit more safe, gives me a little bit more security, etc. But he's like, what's the cost? And it's like outsourcing your creativity, taking the 3 hours you'd write the newsletter for somebody else instead of putting that into your own and making it really fucking good. So that's something that I'm navigating right now too. And then you hit an interesting point on the people pleasing nature. Like I have had that tendency throughout my whole life. And I think maybe it serves us well in some ways, right? Maybe we started writing online and trying to get likes and trying to get followers for that validation of that people pleasing nature. But something that I'm working at right now is being okay with rubbing somebody the wrong way, knowing that your own intentions were pure without feeling bad about it. That's been something I'm really working on. So, how do you navigate that? Like, not feeling bad.
Honestly, it's just accepting myself and realizing my worth more and more. And I think you try at the start to like do it for everybody, like help everybody out and like whatever, and then you realize like this isn't sustainable. Like what am I doing? And then it starts to happen so much. Like, dude, I get so many DMs now all the time. Because I'm all these different platforms, people hitting me up for stuff. I just ignore most people because It's like I can't do it. Like if I was answering DMs all day, like I would go crazy. And it's like I just learned like I can't feel bad because it's just like if if I was to do this, like the reason they're reaching out to me is because of my content that resonates. Well, if I answer all their DMs, then that's going to take away from the thing that made them resonate with me in the first place. And so you can't feel bad for that, man. Or same thing for other things. But yeah, it's just like you get to a point where it's just like I'm fed up with it. Like I don't care anymore. It's like
Mhm.
whatever. Fuck it. If you get mad over that, whatever. That's your problem. It's like really.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with that, like something that I feel a lot, and I know you wrote about this a while ago. I think it was like an off the cuff type of like just a long tweet stream of consciousness, which I resonated with a lot at the time, but I've resonated with it more and more as I've gone farther in the game, is feeling guilty about being bad about responses. Like when you have all these messages across different platforms, because I know when you wrote that tweet, like I think maybe you were feeling a little bit of guilt, or you were feeling bad that you couldn't get back to people, maybe in your personal life, maybe friends in the creator game. Like you just can't stay on top of it. So, how have you navigated that since writing that tweet? Maybe it was like 9, 12 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like I do feel bad sometimes because like a lot of my good friends, like I just don't reply to. Like it's draining for me. Like it sounds like, oh, boo hoo, you gonna reply to messages. Like, yeah, when you're getting like a ton of message every day, and like I just don't enjoy that stuff. I don't enjoy text. Like I like calls. Um, but yeah, it's draining when like everyone's trying to pull your attention and get your attention, and then you feel bad because the people like some of your friends might think, oh, you think she's too good for me or whatever. It's like, no, man, like
Hmm.
it's just like a lot. And it's just I don't I like my privacy too, and I like want to shut off. And
Yeah.
that's the thing too. It's like it feels like you're always being pulled in some direction, or someone's always trying to get your attention. And it's crappy because I know what it's like to be on the other end where you message someone, when I was starting out, you don't get a response. Like, damn, like I really like that person, and I wish I could get a response. And I know how much it means when you do get a response. Like, holy shit, they responded. And yeah, it's crappy because like I yeah, I want to be able to like respond to everybody, but it's just not feasible. um but yeah, the like what changed? I mean, I kind of have a filter system where social media DMs are like the lowest priority. If there's someone I know, I'll give them my Telegram. If it's someone personal, I'll give them my phone number. And yeah, I just got like these different systems or like
Yeah.
different platforms for different people. I just bought a new phone, like a separate phone, like a Google phone. I love iPhone, but I got a Google phone because I don't want it to be connected to like any iPhone stuff. So my iPhone stuff's personal, Google phones work, and then just trying to create the barriers where work and personal are separate because I find they both mix in. It's so annoying.
Yeah. That's really good. I might have to look into doing that like two phone system too, because like I have friends on Telegram, for example, that text me like creator friends, but they text me on Telegram, and my Telegram's a fucking mess, and I can't stay on top of
Yeah,
it. And then
yeah,
I
dude.
have like iMessages. I end up seeing a text from like one of my really good high school friends or college friends that it's like, oh fuck, I haven't responded in 3 weeks. Like I'm,
Yeah.
uh, and I feel so bad. And then you try to apologize for it, but then it makes you feel even more bad. And then you're on this treadmill of apologizing and feeling sorry. But I think over time, people's expectations recalibrate and they understand what you're doing. The more and more, I mean, that's just an honest conversation too. I try to have with people, even like family sometimes, which is I know is bad, but like sometimes I'll go like 2 or 3 days and I haven't responded to a text from my cousin. I haven't picked up the phone from my grandparents. I'm like, oh my god, like, am I a shitty person or am I just drowning in stuff? Do I need to figure out new systems? Those are some of these things about this game that again, it's like boohoo, like you have a lot of messages, you have followers, whatever, but it can be extremely draining. And then I end up just wanting to completely avoid it. Like it's Friday night, I haven't checked my texts all week, and I'm like, I just want to put my phone away and like do something completely else. And then it gets
Yeah.
even worse. It just spirals. Yeah, I
And then
resonate
you
a
throw
little.
comments into that too, man.
Oh
People
yeah,
comment on your posts, and you're like, bro, you get like sometimes 500 comments a day. You're like, there's no way. There's no way. This isn't sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where you need to like cultivate that. Like, you need to know your inner circle. I actually did this exercise at the start, like a year and a half ago, and I had like 800 followers, but I was already starting to feel the overwhelm of like Twitter replies, Twitter DMs, messages, school. And I did this circle with my therapist at the time, or this exercise. It was like these concentric circles, and you make like your really inner circle. Like, who are those 5 to 10 people that if they call, if they text, you're going to be there for them all the time. Then you have your secondary, and then you have like pretty much everybody else, and you can't feel bad about anybody on the outside circle. That was really relevant. I might have to revisit that exercise,
Mm.
because it just helped me take
Am
away
I
the
in your
feeling.
circle, Jack?
I'd say you're probably in the secondary circle.
Probably. You fuck. I was kidding.
No, but I always do appreciate you responding on Telegram too, because I can
Yeah.
only imagine you're just flooded.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shit show. But
Twitter
I
micro
always got time for you,
influencer
baby.
problems.
I know. It's so rough. Oh.
So where do you see this evolving for you?
Creator space
Yeah,
for me.
personally.
Um, I think YouTube is going to be a final boss. Growing on that, I putting my main focus on that because just I think Twitter and YouTube are like the big dogs. Twitter right now is a shit show. It's not good for growth, but I mean it's still my baby. I love it. And it's free speech. And then YouTube's great for nurturing and dude, you have like 100K subs on YouTube, you're set. Like YouTube's just amazing for growth. The bar to enter is way higher, but I think long term, like if someone's watching your YouTube videos every week and you're building that connection, like people connect with video more than anything because they can see, hear, and um, understand your ideas. So I see LinkedIn, Threads, Instagram, Twitter as ways to funnel traffic to my newsletter or my YouTube. And I see those platforms as a way to funnel traffic to my offers.
Hmm. I
That's the
like
way I
that.
see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
like
I'm so putting a focus on that.
if you say the top of funnel, like you think top of funnel is kind of just social media, but it's really like short form is like top of funnel. Then it's like the medium form. Then it's
Yeah,
your free stuff. Then it's your low ticket community. Then it's your course. Then it's your offer. Like
exactly.
you can once you build out that whole ecosystem too, it's really exciting. But there's so much to build. But yeah, man, I'm with you on the YouTube game. Like I've been mostly just posting podcasts for like the past year, like no editing podcast, which I kind of like it that way, just raw conversation. Like I've realized I don't like preparing. Like I do better when I don't prepare because I'm more present. So like don't take it the wrong way, but I didn't prepare because I just wanted to be like
Yeah,
completely present for this podcast. But
I
now
like
that
that.
I've started on YouTube, I see it as this long, really long game, really long compounding game. But it's so valuable. And this is like a data point for anybody that's interested in like the long form content game is I launched my first cohort last Black Friday. It's still running. It's almost done. It has like a week left. And out of the 25 or so people that joined, over half of them said they joined because they listened to my podcast, which I found really interesting because like my average podcast probably gets like 100 views and it doesn't seem like a lot, but I actually heard Dan Coe say one time like 100 podcast listeners, or you could even say 100 YouTube video listeners are more valuable than like 10,000, 20,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you think about the relationship you have with them. Hello to the person listening. Um, but you think about the relationship this person listening right now. This is very meta now, fourth wall breaking. But you, who's listening to this right now, think about how many podcasts you probably listened to Jack Moses. Maybe this is the first one, or maybe this is your 50th one. I don't know how many you've done. But when you're hearing somebody every day and you can hear the tonality in their voice, you hear their ideas, you hear them use weird analogies and stories and stuff, you just connect with them more than seeing, oh, it's just some tweet. Like it's more intimate. Like I'm whispering into your ear right now. It's more intimate. Sorry to weird you out, but it's more intimate when you're listening to somebody and hearing their voice than it is than watching some text on a screen. It's more personal.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And with Twitter right now, like it is very hard to grow. At least harder than when I started, it seems, because it seems like the
good old
baseline
days.
level. Like at first, you could write threads and pop, like pretty much with any broad personal development type of platitude thread. Now, if you do that, like you're not standing out. So I've noticed that you seem to be like really experimenting on there. Like you're posting
Hmm.
these picture tweets, you're posting
Hmm.
videos, like you're posting all these
Hmm.
different things. What's your thought process right now?
That's repurposed stuff. So like to scale on, I'm scaling on LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter and YouTube right now. And you think about, I can't create content for all these platforms. So
Mhm.
how can I create once and have it published many times? So the way I think, I can create a screenshot, like I'll take my tweets and I'll get my VA to create a screenshot of it. So that's why you see on Twitter, I have a screenshot of a tweet. They'll make a screenshot of it, but I'll write a description for it. And I have two descriptions. So I have a long form description and I have a short form description for that post, that picture. And the long form description goes on LinkedIn, it goes on YouTube, and it goes on Instagram. The short form description goes on Threads and it goes on Twitter because of the character limit. And so now I write the long form description, I have the picture, and then for the short form description, I just take a piece from the long form or condense it down. Boom, I have content for all the platforms. Same thing with video. I have a long form description, I have a short form description, and then I have the video published on all the platforms with the correct description. So it's me repurposing stuff, and I also take the from my tweets. I find I just tweet so much, I take the best performing ones, and that's what determines what the screenshot tweets are. So, and then I can also take the best performing tweets, turn it into a YouTube script, or take the description I wrote for one of the previous posts, turn that into a script. I take my newsletter, I turn that into a long form YouTube script. So finding ways just to repurpose is like the biggest hack ever, and you need a good system in place for that. I created a crazy system for that I've just been leveraging. So it's been a pain in the ass, but I'm starting to get it nailed.
Yeah, once you get that system down and it can go on autopilot, you can stop thinking about it so much and you can just think about ideas, which is
Yeah,
so liberating. I've kind of a similar system. I'm just starting to figure out Instagram a tiny bit, LinkedIn a tiny bit, but those are kind of tertiary, like secondary focuses. For me, it's just newsletter, Twitter, podcast, YouTube. That's the main focus. But if you were
yeah.
trying to grow, like say you were starting on Twitter right now, what would you do? What would your approach be?
I would do 1 to 3 posts a day. I would do 1 to 3 long form threads a week. I would do one DM giveaway a week. I would take one of those threads I've written and I would just use that for a DM giveaway. So repurpose it. So make it a valuable thread. And then I would hop on Twitter spaces if I found ones that are popping off that I could talk in, maybe host my own. And if I was to host my own, I would interview the top creators and ask them really good questions. And that way I can leverage their audience to grow my following. And then I would comment 20 plus times a day. And that's about it. And then just do that consistently.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple,
Well,
but
yeah,
it's
it's like the main thing is people don't have anything to say. They're creating content that's really broad, or they don't say things in a easy to understand way. So it's, man, learning to write's one of the best skills you can learn, because then you can figure out how to say things interestingly, how to capture attention. And that's why you see all these writers that started on Twitter, they're just dominating these video platforms because they learned how to write. They know how to create content in an engaging way. So yeah, it's highly recommended to learn to write.
agreed. It's completely changed my life. And I'll end it with this. I joined Dakota's Growth Ghost last January while I was in college. Literally was door dashing to make enough money to pay for the cohort. And I paid for it. And 3 months later, I dropped out of college, full time ghostwriting income, and I have not looked back. So I'm super grateful for your work, dude. Like, it's impacted my life more than you probably realize, and it's impacted other people's lives a lot more than you realize, too.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, no, it's really meaningful to hear stories like that. Kind of tearing up right now because I know what it's like to be in that position and to like not like where you're at, or like be broke as fuck. So it's cool to I make money doing it, but I also get to help people out. So no, I appreciate that, man. I'm really happy for you because it's been amazing to see like how much you're crushing it and what you're doing, and you think about the ripples effects of that, like how many people you've helped, and then how many people they'll help. So yeah, man, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Of course, man. And just to end it, just to recap, what can people expect from you soon? Launches, community, etc.
I'll have a low ticket community, probably launching end of March, maybe early April. And in that, I'll show you how to build your personal brand on social media and how to write and like general business stuff, like how to monetize it, because I've actually done those things. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty bitchin', as the
Dope.
kids say.
Dope. I'm super
No
excited to
kids
see
say
it, man.
that. Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll get you. We'll get you in there.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Of course. Thank you.